I seek refuge with Allah from the accursed devil. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. We are in another class talking about emotional intelligence, which is quite important for the development of personal skills to achieve success and reach our goals. The main question is, what does emotional intelligence have to do with achieving success, reaching our goals, and attaining what we desire? How can it be? How can we achieve our goals, reach what we have programmed and planned through emotional intelligence, which is an intellectual skill for controlling emotions? That is the question, and it is very important. Well, look, a person who has been able to develop their emotional intelligence has certain characteristics. What are these characteristics? First, this person has self-control over their emotions and will not express many negative emotions. That person controls their emotions, even positive ones, in such a way that they are not deceived by positive emotions. Sometimes we are so cheerful that we don't see our flaws, and that is also a flaw. Being so optimistic, not realistic. So optimistic that we even see our defects as an advantage. There are people like that, and they may be self-centered individuals and also normal people, but very optimistic. On the contrary, there are people whose emotions rise to such an extent that everything becomes negative for them, causing that person to lose hope. A person who lacks hope will not fight to achieve their goals. It is clear that our emotions are an important factor in achieving success and reaching our goals. So, controlling emotions ensures achieving success and reaching our goals. Many psychological studies show that people with developed emotional intelligence are more successful. They are individuals who can fight for and achieve their goals. On the contrary, there are many people with very high intellectual ability, but who are weak in managing their emotions. She is a super intelligent person, a very special person, but she is weak in controlling her emotions. This means that her intellect does not dominate her emotions, indicating that her emotional intelligence skills are weak. This ability develops through practice, self-control, and managing desires, emotions, and feelings. So a person, no matter how super intelligent they are, if they cannot control their emotions, will not be able to achieve success. What is the relationship between emotional intelligence and personality development? Unfortunately, in the West, the term free development of personality helps many young people fall into sin and perversion. It says that each person should express, for example, their lust, their sexual desire freely in order to achieve the free development of their personality. And they give the example of how a flower is growing. So you must clear the way for that flower to reach where it wants. Human beings, isn't it so? When a person has more control over their emotions, desires, lust, and anger, the more they can control these desires, the more success they will achieve. And the difference between us, humans, and animals is that we, humans, have intellect in addition to our innate desires. And the path we choose is not the innate path. It is an intellectual path. Life and the purposes we have are intellectual. It is not just about getting bigger, reproducing more, and then dying. No, it is that the human being will seek perfection, and that can only be achieved through an intellectual and spiritual path. Well, what is the relationship between emotional intelligence and personality development? The development of our personal skills. That is very clear. A person who does not have developed emotional intelligence is affected by emotions, by feelings, by what we can call sentiment. So many times what we have as our purpose, our life goal that we strive to reach. For example, a person wants to be a mathematician, wants to be a physicist, wants to be a good religious person. That person is fighting to achieve success, wants to be a good merchant, wants to make a lot of money, wants to be a spiritual man, has a goal. And that goal requires certain attitudes, meaning there are steps to reach success. To be a good merchant, you must be a very hardworking person, a very honest person, a very organized person, someone who follows through on what they say. This will help you gain the trust of the market. You should be very communicative, attending to customers and friends, engaging in many communications. This character of being very communicative with many people, being very friendly, and through honesty and hard work, will help you gain capital, which is trust in the market. With this capital, even with little you have, you can work a lot, and thus you will become a great merchant in the future. You must take initiative, etc. But many times, what we desire is different from what our purpose is. For example, you, in your studies, in the academic career you have, for instance, need to study English. And since you were a child, you hated English because you hated Obama and Trump. So in 2021 you say, oh, it's the language of the Americans, I hate it, I don't like it, all of that. Look at the desire you have, the emotion you have, is to hate something. Even though your goal requires studying English. So which one do you choose? What is emotional? What is hatred towards English, the English language? Or what is professional? What is your work? What is your purpose that you must study English? Which one? If you are an emotional person, where your emotions control your intellect, meaning your emotions use your intellect to justify the emotional, then you are lost because you are not going to study English, because you hate the teacher, because you hate school, you hate English, etc. But if you are a person with well-developed emotional intelligence, you say, no, I need it for my job, I need it for success. I don't care whether I like it now or not. It's necessary. I am going to study it. And if I don't like it, I will manage my emotions so that I like it. So that person who masters their emotions will work, fight against their emotions, control negative emotions, and turn them into positive emotions. By controlling themselves, they will study English, enjoy English, and achieve their goal. Another example. To achieve your goal, you need to overcome laziness and study. For example, from 6 good a.m., you should wake up at 5 good a.m., get up and do the work, the studying, all of that. So you must fight, study hard, and sleep less. But what you want, what we like, is to sleep more, to sleep in the morning, all of this. So you have to choose what you want, which is to sleep in the morning, and what you need, which is to get up in the morning early. Which one do you choose? If you choose what you want, what your emotions and desires want, you are lost, you will lose the class, you will lose success, you will lose everything. Or you can fight against your emotions, and your intellect says you have to wake up early in the morning. If you want to make a lot of money, you must get up early. So you will wake up, get up, and from there you start the day in the name of God with everything else. And you will fight to achieve your successes. Another example, you have a wife who is your wife, and your goals, your intellect says that to form a good family, the core is love. So I must love my wife. I must express love towards my wife. I must love her. Okay? That is the way to achieve success. On the other hand, you have a student, you have a secretary, you have someone around you who is always flirting with you. She always likes it when you touch her, etc., etc. She always invites you to dinner. She does everything to be with you, to go out with you. She even appears friendlier, which is deceptive. She's a professional, traitor. So you have her as a secretary, you have her as a friend, you have her as whatever she may be, right? So your emotions, lust, lead you towards fornication, towards that woman, that girl, whoever it may be. And your intellect says you should love your wife, be faithful, etc. Which do you choose? Your secretary, fornication. Do you choose your wife? Honesty, family? Which of your emotions want to lead you to sin? One mortal sin is fornication. What eliminates honesty, eliminates spirituality. What will make you poor? What will make you cursed? What will surely annihilate you? What will defame you? According to the narratives, who will fall into fornication? God is in charge of defaming that person. 2009 will make it evident. Everyone will know that you are a traitor, you are a fornicator, you are corrupt. Which one do you choose? Will that emotion lead you to fall and lose everything? Are you going to choose the intellectual path? Your intellect will control lust. It will extinguish the fire of lust. You say, shut up, and you are going to annihilate me. I won't let you take the helm of my life. No, I myself steer my life. The intellect will crush lust, and then it will take the helm. So Volante will lead you to the right path, which is to love your family, love your wife, and be an honest man. Which one do you choose? The emotional path of the sin you desire. Is that dangerous? Or the intellectual path of success? So emotional intelligence, when you can develop it by controlling your emotions, guarantees that you will reach your purpose. That is the first thing. Secondly, each path, success requires patience. No success exists that you can achieve overnight. It does not exist. That is a success, a supposed success that does not exist in the real world. Look, brothers, many people say they want to learn a foreign language. For example, with a pill. They think that today they take this pill and tomorrow they will learn to speak English or Arabic, Persian, whatever it is. But that doesn't exist. Success is achieved through constant struggle. Struggle, constant effort, is bitter. It means wanting to be a good football player to earn millions and millions of dollars. I don't know where it comes from and how it comes, but it doesn't matter now. They are looking for money, right? Unfortunately, if you want to be a good football player, now you have to do a lot of exercises. You have to work hard, and to become a good football player, you see. But a person who does not want to fight, who does not want to resist, a person who does not insist on reaching their goals, will always encounter obstacles along the way that prevent them from achieving their success, their purpose. On every path in the material world, there will be large rocks in the way, and you must either remove these rocks or change the path, but continue to persevere to achieve success. So the question is, are you resilient enough? Are you patient enough? Are you strong enough? Powerful enough to achieve your successes? You are not an emotionally weak, sentimental, and fragile person. When you encounter the first obstacle, you think to yourself that you cannot achieve success. Is a pessimistic person someone who will abandon their job at the first setback, abandon their purpose, and let the first criticism destroy everything they have built from their dreams? Which one are you? Who are you? Emotionally weak. Do you care about what people say or not? Or when you choose the path, you are so resilient that if everyone comes against you, insults you, criticizes you, you are so strong. If you have taken the intellectual path, on that intellectual path you are resilient. The example of this is Imam Khomeini. Great leaders are always like that. They are the ones who are so strong that they will change society. The weak person goes wherever the wave goes. And if the wave of society is to the right today, it is to the right. Tomorrow it will be to the left, and it will go to the left. In Islam, they are called hama yoreya, the tiny little flies that are in the group when the wind comes. They go wherever the wind goes. That is the character of an emotionally weak person, which many people sound like, but to be a great leader, you need to be resilient. Imam alayhi salam says, "Do not be afraid on the right path you have chosen because of the few people who follow it. It doesn't matter. He is a great leader who has been able to change the history of the 20th century, who has been able to, just when everyone believed that religion is the most useless, the opium of the masses. At that very moment, Imo today raised the flag saying, we want the just government of the prophets. We want to bring justice to the earth. We want to care for the poor and the marginalized of the earth." And so the arrogant of the world were upset and did everything possible to take him off that path. But Mahoney remained resilient, as he was a person who believed in his purpose. He was a believer, strong in his path. So he fought and achieved what he could, reaching the impossible, through having emotional intelligence that was above the norm. A normal person, when 10 people are going to criticize them, loses their motivation, loses everything, and will quit their job. But a successful person is someone who is so resilient, so strong, that when they encounter the first obstacle, they will be criticized, they will be, we can say, bothered, but they don't care. They continue on their path and are strong. So another trait that emotional intelligence will give you is resilience, patience. 2001, well, the third one, look brothers, the emotional state, our motivation, each day is different. If you want to follow the path of your motivations, or if this low moment will rise another day and then fall again, depending on your physical, emotional, and sentimental state, as well as your thoughts and circumstances, each will affect your emotions. Do you see? But your purpose will remain the same. So, if you want to leave your life in the hands of emotions, you will become an inconsistent person. On the contrary, if you are an intellectual person, the goal is to achieve success, for example, obtaining a doctorate, I don't know, being a spiritual person, forming a good family, working hard, that won't change, it's always the same. But your motivations, your emotions regarding that purpose are different. One day you desire it, 100% of your heart desires it. Another day, you're not in a good mood, you're not so interested in achieving that goal. Now you choose who will motivate you, your intellect or your desires and emotions. The person who has left life in the hands of intellect sees things clearly. The intellect is intellectual and seeks the truth. So your path will be a strong, steady, and continuous journey until you reach success. But if you leave everything in the hands of your emotions, today you are super happy to be with your wife, and tomorrow you will be disappointed in your wife, and another day you are very happy, another day you are disappointed. Depending on the circumstances, each day will change, right? So your emotional state is inconsistent. Therefore, if you leave your life in the hands of what is inconsistent, it will make your life inconsistent. It will make your life changeable. And that person is someone you say, oh, that person is useless. Because today they come motivated, and tomorrow they are indifferent. And how many people like this, do you know? How many young people like this, do you know? They only seek variety in life and will never achieve success. They will change jobs every day. If you were to stay, for example, in carpentry for 10 years, you could achieve success. If you were to stay in, let's say, blacksmithing, you could achieve success. If you were to study the language, you could achieve success. But the problem is that you study the language for 6 months. Then you are with that girl for 6 months, and tomorrow you are with another one for 6 months. So that person is doomed to certain failure. The emotional person, instead of being intelligent, will be emotional and will lose everything. Another characteristic of those with developed emotional intelligence is that they are so brave, so bold, and so strong that they are not ashamed to account for their actions. What does it mean? Look, brother, in order to achieve success, I need to analyze myself, to recognize my flaws, which is very painful, very bitter. Each person should be brave enough to acknowledge their own flaws and be able to fight against them, to correct themselves and reform their life. We need it. None of us are perfect. We are not 100%. We all have our shortcomings. I have 1,000 flaws, you have 500, and another person has 100 flaws. So, in order to correct myself and develop, I need to be brave enough to analyze and account for my actions. I analyze them and I'm self-critical. When I have self-criticism, it feels like a form of self-humiliation, bitter, but it will help me recognize the wounds, understand what is, we could say, my work, in which part it is hurt by my flaws. Then I will study it, analyze it, and I will fight to correct myself. That is through emotional intelligence. But if a person is weak, a person who is emotional, I don't like being criticized. I don't like to be counted. I prefer to close my eyes and not see my flaws. Why? Because seeing the flaws hurts you. It hurts to know that you are imperfect. So emotions will indeed lead you to a life of neglect. Emotional intelligence will awaken you. It will show you that here are your flaws. They are flaws in your surroundings. If you want to make a living, you must fight against your own flaws. But the emotions say, oh, I want to have a beautiful life. I want to have a sweet life. And that's why I say, I prefer negligence, ignorance. I prefer it because when I ignore my flaws, I can sleep peacefully. But when I think that I have 1,000 flaws, that worries me. To avoid worry, he says, I am not going to criticize myself. They are not going to seek advice. Those people never consult anyone, because when you go to consult an intellectual and ask about your situation, that person, being intellectual, criticizes you and says, look, that decision is so foolish. How can you make such a stupid decision? And it will help you to get out of the life you have, to correct your life and fight to achieve success. But an emotional person prefers to continue with their flaws, ignore the defects, and be a negligent person. These people are accumulating more flaws. Because when you ignore a flaw, you will continue down this flawed path. And that will hurt your life. You will never reach your goals. It's like you have a package and you're pouring water into that package. This package has several holes, and something is happening down there. It never fills up. Never. What is it for? And your whole life you are striving to supposedly fill that bag with water, and it will never fill up. First, we need to think about the flaws. What are the flaws in my work, in my relationship with my wife? People who always think that others are to blame, and when you ask yourself what part of the blame you carry, you say nothing. I am the most perfect. It's not that I am perfect. This person wants to imagine that they are perfect. So they always blame others. These emotionally imperfect people, in order not to think about their own faults and defects, will always blame everyone else. Everyone, even the sun and the moon, are guilty except for this person. In all relationships, whether with your wife, your husband, the host, the teacher, the student, etc., everyone is always at fault. These people have a certain character. They always complain. If you see a person, they are always complaining. What does complaining mean? Complaining means I am so self-centered that I see all the flaws in others. Then others will reach such an important, unbearable point that I must then confront them with complaints. Look at this, look at that, look at this. The world, the government, the state, work, the climate, everyone is wrong, except for you. That means it can't be that everyone is bad, that God, even some say, oh, that I also complain about God. How can that be? God is the most merciful. God is the one who has opened the path to success. If you do not want to take advantage of the treasure that God has given you, which is intellect, it is your fault. It's like a dad gives you a check and you never want to take the check to the bank to cash it. It's your fault. And now the check doesn't work at all. Of course, the check doesn't do anything for you. You have to take it to the bank. When it becomes effective, you will take it and spend it for your life. God has given you intellect. Intellect is a check that you must cash in life and put into practice. What does the intellect understand about which religion I am going to follow? And I am suffering because this religion I have has many contradictions. It has the Trinity. It has this, that. God is telling you, I have given you intellect. Seek the path of truth. You will find it and you will be happy. You will become a spiritual man. You will gain life. Well, the last one, when a person is brave enough to acknowledge their flaws, then they already know that they have 10 flaws. How do you react to flaws emotionally, intellectually? The intellect says that defects are a disease. I must eliminate the diseases. Although I like these flaws, I am weak, lazy, and a liar. I like that. Then, the intellect says you must fight against those flaws. It will help you save yourself to escape that flawed life. By struggling, it will give you bitter medicines. A person who is lazy wants to sleep. Every morning wants to sleep and misses classes, work, everything. And the intellect says you should go to bed very early at night to wake up bright and early. So you're going to get up early in the morning. Is it hard for you? Yes. Is it bitter? Yes. But it will lead you to success. It is the intellectual path to success. On the other hand, if you are a lazy, emotional, foolish person, what will that make you? He says, look, I have those flaws. It doesn't matter. Everyone has flaws. And look at you. You've made it. Those people will look for flaws in successful individuals. Do you see? It says, look at so-and-so who has achieved success. They have so many flaws. They will always talk about the bad things of other people. This is how we can say calming oneself, soothing oneself. Saying it doesn't matter if you have flaws, because everyone has flaws. These people will justify their flaws. If you are going to see a person who always seeks to speak ill of others, a tongue full of malice towards other people, speaking ill of others who are absent, speaking ill of people who have achieved success, they will always seek the smallest flaws in the wise, in the religious, in their friends, in their spouse. Is the pessimist always complaining about why they do it? If I am going to make the whole world polluted, then my pollution is nothing. If everyone is completely flawed, my 50% of flaws are nothing. It's an advantage. Do you see it? So those people, instead of lifting themselves up, will bring others down. It means that by bringing down others, they want to imagine that they are elevated. It is a person sitting who will make others fall, will see that they already have a status, a height greater than others. They have a higher position than other people. And that is false. What if they are self-deceiving? How can you save yourself from that? Look, brother, you need to wake up. You need to think about success. You need to fight your emotions, your lust. How do you fight against all of them? Look, brother, complaining, goodbye. You are not going to complain. From that moment on, you are not going to complain about anything bad about others. Forget it. Think of the good qualities in others. Everyone has their advantages. Think about the advantages of others, what you lack. If you think about the advantages of others, their good qualities and virtues, then you will strive to attain those virtues. You will become a virtuous person. Do not justify your flaws. Fight against your flaws. Take the bitter intellectual medicine and do not let yourself be deceived by a supposedly sweet negligence. God bless you. In the next class, we will continue talking about emotional intelligence and how emotional intelligence helps us achieve success. Peace be upon you and the mercy of Allah and His blessings.